What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. And we have one from Jason Whitlock. We're talking about Paige Bueckers' WNBA draft ratings. We're going to go crazy with Paige Becker here. And let's hear, Jason Whitlock right now. Let me put the volume up and let's go.
Paige Bueckers last night, the number one overall pick of the WNBA draft. They've been on a campaign for the last 3 years to argue that Paige Bueckers, the UConn star, is actually better than Caitlin Clark. And last night, I think we figured out why that campaign's been going on, because it's not based in reality. Paige Bueckers is a very good college player, probably going to be a very good WNBA player, but she ain't on Caitlin Clark's level in terms of excitement or accomplishment. And I know they just won a national championship, but she played with two players that are either just as good, and the Sarah Strong's probably better than her or will be better than her. Caitlin Clark took, a bunch of girls from Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. Regardless, what Paige Bueckers does far better and more often, and something that Caitlin Clark, I don't believe, has done, is Paige Bueckers scissors, and seems to scissor with her teammate, Ozzie Fudd, who will come back to UConn for one more year next year. And so Paige Bueckers showed up at the draft, and let's watch her, I think, on the red carpet with her teammate, Ozzie Fudd. Let's play that clip.
See this property on Craigslist for $4,300 a month? Well, it's been sitting empty for the last 28 days.
Now let's see.
I take it based on, do we have the picture where you can see Paige Bueckers caressing the buttocks of Ozzie Fudd on the red carpet? Let's put, there we go. That's Paige Bueckers caressing the buttocks of Ozzie Fudd, her teammate at UConn. There you go. And, if I were Bill, that's how Bill Belichick would be posed up with Ozzie Fudd, who's probably 22 years old. If Bill Belichick were on the red carpet with Ozzie Fudd, that's how Bill Belichick would have his hand. And I get, when I looked on the internet, there's been rumors about this relationship for a long time. Allegedly, a lot of conversation about this relationship. It's clear to see who the alpha is, or the I don't know who I wouldn't say the man or the she. Well, I don't know. Maybe because I want to play this other video of, here's Paige Bueckers behind the scenes at the draft, walking to the table where she goes to sit down next to Ozzie Fudd, and quickly tells Ozzie that, hey, I'm mic'd up. Be careful what you say. Let's play that clip.
Thank you so much. All right. Every take a look here at the draft stage. I mean, you're all lined up. Some of the invited draftees joined by Haley Vanderlip and Georgia Dale. Wow. Yes.
All Paige Bueckers is lacking in that man suit is a big gold chain and some sort of, and she'd look like, Jalen Rose or some of these other guys that all dress up on NBA draft night. That's all she's lacking. And a year or two ago, there were stories that Paige Bueckers had some boyfriend that I think was an athlete on another team in another sport, but I think it's clear as day she has switched teams. And I think that's why so many WNBA players are going to greet Paige Bueckers with open arms, even though she's white. It's because she seems to be on the same sexual team as everyone else in the WNBA, or the majority of WNBA players.
Yeah, and here's the point with Jason Whitlock. I even said this. She've actually got what we call the brownie points of the WNBA. She actually said, okay, please give the black players more coverage. because they don't give them a lot. They give all it to the white players. I'm like, really? And then, yeah, she placates to it. And now, now we don't know if it's true, but Paige Bueckers, maybe she might play on the, the LGBTQ team. I mean, she's going to be welcomed with open hearts, like Jason Whitlock says. Totally welcomed in, compared to what Caitlin Clark is going through, getting beat the hell up by a lot of the players. But, yeah, Paige Bueckers, she will go through her somewhat rough times, but they're not going to beat her up as bad. And of course, it's been the 3 or 4 years they want Paige Bueckers. Like, okay. And, I even thought, like, even before knowing who Caitlin Clark was, I remember who Paige Bueckers was. But, the emergence of Caitlin Clark, the television revenue, they're thinking Paige Bueckers should be that person. But I don't think Paige Bueckers is going to move that needle like Caitlin Clark is going to. So let's continue to listen and watch what happens.
For most of my adult life, I've struggled with my health, feeling sore and low energy. But relief factor NBA draft last night, and I think as all the progress that they made last year, I don't know if you remember how feminine the WNBA draft was.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies all dressed up nice and feminine. Clearly, with Paige Bueckers at the top of the draft, they went a different route. She dressed as a little man.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to her and all that. But Scap, this is what.
See this property on Craigslist for $4,300 a month?
Right.
Well, it's been sitting empty for the last 28 days.
All right.
Turns me off about the WNBA. It's someone put it in my tweet, mentions that, hey, look, the WNBA is a lesbian psyop, Jason. And are you going to participate in the lesbian psyop by continuing to promote this brand and this league? And I have real questions about whether I can do it. And I like Caitlin Clark, but I'm not super confident that Caitlin Clark is going to survive the culture in the WNBA. Most of the time, the culture you exist in eventually wins out.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, you've referenced a couple of times my age in relation to you being a little bit younger, but still, I'm at a certain age where it used to be more of a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing, not just in sports, but in society as well. Now it's worn on your sleeve. Like it has to be some kind of a patch that you carry along. And quite frankly, that is off-putting to the vast majority of fans. Again, working this conversation back to the fan standpoint, like you don't want to hear or see these kinds of things, regardless of what you think about it. Just leave it to yourself. Like keep it, some semblance of privacy, Jason. And as it relates to Paige here, look, far be it from me to impugn her if she wants to become an all scissors American first team member here, but someone on your own team, that's my major takeaway. What are the implications here, from a team standpoint, in interlocker room kind of relations during the games? Obviously, they won the championship, so it didn't stop them from doing that. But isn't there some level of decorum, of professionality that we can at least put forth here and not be banging teammates? Is that what direction we're heading to, Jason?
It's never talked about. Never talked about. But that's one of the biggest issues in women's college basketball, women's softball. It's the sexual complications of these teams and the malfeasance. And people are going to get upset when I say this, but I've been around it long enough, talked to people involved in the game. The stuff that goes on between assistant coaches and players, and occasionally between head coaches and players. And, one of the most celebrated coaches in all of women's college basketball, there are stories, conversations about her and former players. It's rampant in these sports, and it's never covered. And I'm not defending any of the things that are covered. I'm not defending them, but it's like, people will talk about, I think it's Dr. Larry Nassar, maybe at Michigan State, and how he sexually abused gymnasts and other athletes at Michigan State, and love that stuff gets exposed. When have we ever heard a story about a coach who young athletes coming to that campus and the female Bill Belichick's that want a taste of some pretty young thing? It's rampant in these sports. It's never discussed because you can say nothing that makes the alphabet mafia uncomfortable. They don't have to address their issues and problems. Again, they got a special status. And just to be crystal clear, if you watch this show, I talk about the special status that Black people have in American society. And we get away without ever talking about our issues, the destruction of family, and all the complications that come along with that. This morning, I said something to Shamika about some video I saw where there was some Black dude that was talking about pedophilia in the Black community, and that he said something about how, I bet you in this room, and I couldn't tell how many people are in this room, I bet you there's 3 pedophiles. This stuff is never talked about. When you remove the nuclear family, the supervision of mom and dad watching over the kids that they produce, 2 parents supervising their kids tamps down the chances of sexual malfeasance, molestation, and abuse.
Now, going back to Paige Bueckers, last time I checked, she had 2 parents. What is it? She played in Minnesota high school, but then you go to a place, I don't know what happens in UConn. And you just saw what is it? Pictures of Fudd. She's kind of very too damn comfortable at the WNBA draft last year. It was just mostly a women's feminine place, where we enjoyed watching the draft. This year, I didn't even watch and waste my time on the draft, even if I'm here in the States. I'm like, didn't even watch it. I'm just like, okay, Paige Bueckers was #1 pick. Now, the only maybe excitement I had was when Golden State drafted Caitlin Chen, another Caitlin player, but she's not going to move the needle. She'll maybe move the needle for the Chinese Americans and up in the 626 area. But sorry to bring that in, but and I don't care if you live your LGBTQ plus life, but now it is just pretty much a badge of honor. But let's continue to hear it. And just like as Jason Whitlock says, even for, hey, it's great to be Black, but then we're oppressed. And I'm going to let Jason Whitlock say it.
And you reduce it to 1 parent supervisor who has a full-time job, or maybe has 2 or 3 baby daddies and a bunch of kids, and none of the baby daddies are in the home. There's less supervision. There's more malfeasance and dysfunction and molestation. Never talked about. And this is why, didn't I already reference the SNL skit on the SNL skit where it's like, well, damn, Saturday Night Live has legalized discussing 2 men getting married or pretending to be married and buying a kid or adopting a kid. Who thinks this is a good idea? Who? You know how little sexual discipline men have? The only sexual discipline we really have is 1, submitting to God, and 2, answering to a girlfriend or wife. That's it. You remove God and you remove a wife, men have no sexual discipline. But let's let them adopt children. Let's let them bring children into their home. This is insanity. Help us grow the fear.
Yep, and shout out to Jason Whitlock. And we got that issue with, the WNBA. And, majority of us, we're just here to watch Caitlin Clark and not, indulge in all this, whatever problems they have. Or is it a problem for them? Probably not. But to a majority of Americans and people around the world, we're like, we don't care about that. We care about basketball, watching Caitlin Clark. So that's where we're at, and we'll have to see. All right, if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe. And I'll see you in my next video.